After that 5-1 win in the Champions League against Frankfurt, it felt like we were finally back on track. The team looked alive again, full of energy and confidence. Well, turns out we weren't wrong about being back, just not in the way we hoped. We're back with yet another disappointment, our 4th Premier League loss in a row. We're now just one more defeat away from matching our 5-game winning streak at the start of the season. And if Arsenal win their next match, we'll find ourselves 7 points off the top of the table. What makes this even more frustrating is that every goal we conceded against Brentford in that 3-2 loss, apart from the penalty, came from situations we've been struggling with for a long time. A long throw-in, a free kick, and another goal from transition, all familiar issues. It makes you wonder if we're actually learning from our mistakes, or even recognizing where they're coming from in the first place. Let's be honest, analyzing games like this is never enjoyable, especially when the losses keep stacking up. But here we are again, trying to figure out what's really going wrong with our club at the moment. So let's dive into it. The lineup itself offered no real surprises. Mamardashvili kept his place between the posts, while Milos Kerkez returned to the left-back position. He joined Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate, and Connor Bradley to complete the back line. In midfield, Curtis Jones made his first start in quite some time after an impressive showing in Europe, with both Dominik Szoboszlai and Florian Wirtz retaining their spots. Up front, Mo Salah returned to the right side, while Cody Gakpo and Hugo Ekitike led the attack. Believe it or not, there were actually a few positives from last night's game, especially in the first half. So before diving into the usual problems that cost us the result, let's take a moment to look at what went right. First up, Curtis Jones. Now, he's not the kind of number 6 who's going to make us impossible to break down, stop transitions with ease, or dominate the midfield when we're out of possession. But when we do have the ball, his presence becomes absolutely vital, particularly during our deep build-up phase. The way he drops between or alongside the centre-backs helps relieve pressure, gives them space to carry the ball forward, and frees up the fullbacks to push higher. What often goes unnoticed is how well he disguises his actions. It's a subtle but crucial skill that helps us play through pressing teams. On top of that, his calmness under pressure and ability to manipulate the ball in tight spaces give us those rare moments to breathe during tough spells. Performances like his tend to be overlooked after defeats, but following his brilliant showing in Germany and another strong display here, Jones deserves real credit. He was one of the few bright spots on a frustrating night. Hopefully, Slot continues to trust him and finds a way to fit Jones, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai into the same lineup. Speaking of Szoboszlai, he's the second positive we need to highlight from this match. Remember the early stages of last season when Dom was getting criticised for his end product and passing. People were calling for him to be benched, and some even wanted him out altogether. But what many didn't realise back then was that Szoboszlai was the lungs of the team. He kept us running, pressing, and fighting through every game. This season, nothing has changed. If anything, he stepped it up even more, and thankfully, everyone can see it now. The Hungarian has been, without question, our player of the season so far. Whether he's been filling in at right back, joining the front line, or playing deeper in the pivot as he recently did, Zobo has delivered quality in almost every phase of play. Yesterday was no exception. He constantly drove forward with the ball, taking responsibility and trying to make something happen. And when we lost possession, he worked relentlessly to win it back, covering every blade of grass. With both him and Jones in midfield, we actually have a sense of balance. It allows us to build from deep while still maintaining threat in advanced positions. Still, as we mentioned earlier, Gravenberch is another key piece missing from that puzzle. We need to find a way to fit all three together on the pitch. One option would be to use Szoboszlai at right back again, a role he's already played this season. But then again, wouldn't it make more sense to place Jones there instead, allowing him to invert into midfield during build-up alongside Gravenberch with Szoboszlai as the third midfielder? Which solution makes more sense to you, and why? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We also saw a few encouraging signs in our final third play. There were moments of sharp combination play, some nice link-ups, and a few clever off-ball runs that showed real intent. The issue, however, is that the execution of the first pass in those sequences often lets us down. Players either hesitate or misplace the pass completely, which stops promising situations from developing. We might actually dedicate a separate video to break this down in more detail, so make sure to hit the bell icon so you don't miss that one. Now, obviously our attack wasn't good enough overall. If it had been, we would have created more clear chances and probably scored more goals. But the bigger concern isn't just the lack of end product. The real problem is that what we're trying to do with the ball is actually hurting us defensively. Take a look at the positioning of Bradley and Salah just moments before we lost possession in the sequence. Salah had drifted inside while Connor was positioned wide and high on the right wing. As the ball was played to Wirtz, there was no real cover behind him because Szobo had pushed higher up the pitch, leaving only Konate sitting deep. When we lost the ball, which is exactly what happened, Konate suddenly found himself in a one-on-one situation against Brentford's winger. He was caught between stepping out aggressively to win it or holding his line to delay the attack. To make matters worse, our counter-pressing setup and intensity were poor. Brentford's midfielder had enough time and space to hold onto the ball, wait for his teammates' run, and then slip a perfectly weighted pass into the gap. Konate couldn't close him down fast enough, and that hesitation was all it took for Brentford to exploit the space and punish us. We've been saying this since pre-season, after the Milan game, and even following the Community Shield loss. These heavy rotations that Slot has been experimenting with are clearly affecting our defensive stability. Sure, when everything clicks, we look like a team capable of playing some of the best football around. But right now, it's costing us our solidity when we're in possession. If you haven't already, check out our video on rest defense on the channel. It explains exactly what we mean here. But that's not the only reason we keep conceding goals. Let's talk about set pieces, free kicks, and those long throw-ins that seem to have become the latest trend. Teams keep finding success against us with these simple methods. So it wasn't even surprising to see us concede that early goal against a team managed by a coach who specializes in set pieces. We've been seeing this pattern for a while now, and yes, apologies for the delay, but we have a detailed video coming out soon breaking down our set-piece struggles this season and why they continue to cost us. This latest defeat marks our 4th straight loss in the Premier League, and once again, it came against a team that repeatedly targeted us with long balls. What's frustrating is that Arne Slot has publicly acknowledged this issue. So if it's such a well-known weakness, why hasn't it been fixed? The same problems we saw out of possession last season, and even during the Frankfurt game, were on display again yesterday. At this point, it's fair to ask, why haven't we found a proper solution yet? So, here we are again, another tough result and another long list of questions that need answers. We can keep talking about individual mistakes or unlucky moments, but deep down, it's clear that something bigger needs fixing. The potential is there, no doubt about it. You can still see flashes of quality, moments that remind us what this team can really do when everything clicks. But potential alone doesn't win games, and right now, we're paying the price for the same problems repeating over and over. Slot has to find a way to make this team more balanced and harder to break. We all know the season is long and things can turn around quickly in football. One good run of form and the whole mood can shift again. But for that to happen, lessons have to be learned and changes have to be made. Anyway, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it or learned something new, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and tell us what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.